Man, that was really, really bad. You ready for week 8?
Hey everybody, welcome in the Red Zone. Sean and Mike here. It is time for Week 8 predictions. I don't even care about Week 7. It was the worst I've ever done with picks. It defied logic. I mean, I don't know how Florida State beats North Carolina. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I mean, I'm even ready for Week 8.
I was right there with you.
Big Ten. Big Ten's back. Real football's back. No more of this 25 yards in a cloud of dust. No defensive games. We're getting some real old school football, hopefully. Some great matchups this week for Week 1 for the Big Ten. You know, the SEC has become Big 12 2.0 or Big 12 light with no defense.
Yeah.
So,
well, even the Sun Belt or the Fun Belt has they tons of offense over in that.
Yeah.
G5
It
league.
is football. College football in some cases is becoming the old backyard football lineup, all wide receivers.
I think
quarterback
some of
just
it
sit back there and throw it.
I think some of it is the strength and conditioning. You know, they didn't get a full spring, summer, so you know some of these guys are getting gassed. You can see in a lot of these games.
Yeah.
They're not. You know, the offense doesn't substitute, so the defense can't, and it just wears those defenses down. So. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you see some of it in the Big Ten. So, I'd be interested to see what the point total or it stacks up with yearly averages.
Well, I don't think we're going to see any 63-58 Big Ten games. I don't see that really happening.
No.
So, teams getting the 30s maybe and 40s, you know, depending on the matchup. But anyway, are you ready to get into
Not
the
Iowa.
picks? Huh? Yeah.
Not Iowa.
Yeah, exactly. You ready to get into the picks?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're picking from now on, now that everybody's playing, we're mainly going to pick all the top 25 teams that are playing. We'll throw in some extras, but we're not really going to pick any more than 20 games. I mean, that just gets to be too much. It takes too much time researching and stuff like that. So today I had 20 listed. We were going to throw in a special one. That'll be our first pick that I had originally left off, but Sean, what's the first game?
Yeah, so Appalachian State against Arkansas State. This last week had one of the most exciting games on a Thursday night, or maybe it was Friday. Was it Thursday or Friday? I can't remember. All my days are getting mixed up. But, Arkansas State.
That might even have been a Wednesday night game.
It could have been.
Yeah, I don't remember. There was a lot of games. But anyway.
So anyway, Arkansas State ends up beating Georgia State 59-52, and in the fourth quarter, I mean, they were just trading blows back and forth. It was a fun game to watch. So I told somebody in our comment section that we'd take a little closer look at the Fun Belt, and you know it's been exciting. I mean, it's good football, especially to a Big 12 fan. So. I'm going to actually take Arkansas State in this.
What was the spread?
The spread was 10.5 for Appalachian State.
Okay.
So Appalachian State's 0-3 against the spread. Arkansas State, I believe, is 4-1 against the spread.
Okay.
So I don't know, that two quarterback system that they've got and they've got two of the best wide receivers in Dahu Green, who's a transfer from Oklahoma, and I forget the other kid's name, but two wide receivers over there that are just Jay Adams. Okay. And then they've got a pretty good running back. I mean, their offense is insane. So I'm definitely taking 10.5. To me is a little steep. So
you're taking
Arkansas State. Yep.
I got to be honest. I've seen Arkansas State play, I think, 3 times. I've seen App State play for a half. I didn't research this. I don't really know. I'm just going to go on what I've seen, what my gut tells me. And I'm going to go with you because I think Arkansas State's legit.
Yeah.
I know App State is kind of the standard in the Sun Belt, but I'm with you. 10.5 seems excessive.
Yeah, and those 2 losses were to Memphis and to Coastal Carolina, 2 really good teams.
Yeah.
So, and Coastal Carolina is
they're top 25
ranked,
now.
Yeah, ranked at number 25. So they played really well this week. So I'm excited to watch that one too.
Okay, that was our bonus one there.
Yeah, bonus pick.
Okay, so now let's get into the full slate that I originally had down. And, of course, Big Ten again starting this week, and we are starting out with a Big Ten game. Illinois is at number 14, Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a 23.5-point favorite. Let me just give you some of my notes. Of course, Wisconsin's quarterback Cone out indefinitely. It didn't say for the season, just indefinitely with a foot injury. That means that Graham Mertz gets the start. He's the redshirt freshman. Everybody is touting him, how good he is, his ability. But he hasn't really played or performed, so that's still up in the air. Not saying he won't be able to perform, but we just haven't seen him yet, and he's young. And we saw what happened with OU with Spencer Rattler coming in as a redshirt freshman, and all these high expectations. And he hasn't played terrible at all, but he hasn't really lived up to what OU
He's
had
making
expected.
freshman mistakes. Yeah.
Yes, so back to Wisconsin, the same deal here. We don't really know. There's expectations on his shoulders, same way. Is he going to be able to come out and perform? We'll have to wait and see. Jonathan Taylor is gone. Wisconsin has 3 offensive linemen they lost from last year. Illinois upset Wisconsin last year, 24-23. Brandon Peters is back for Illinois at quarterback. Remember, he was the quarterback at Michigan before he transferred, and he played really solid last year. I mean, I think Illinois went on a 4-game winning streak at one point, starting with Wisconsin. In Illinois, they return more experience than any team in the Big Ten except Northwestern, with all their returning starters and how long they've played and how many starts. So Illinois is very experienced this year. They have more seniors on this Illinois team than in 2018 and 2019 combined. They are all upperclassmen, so a lot of experience. And for Illinois, they have Mike Epstein coming back. He's a running back who has been injured in the past and has played limited amounts, but when he does play, he's been explosive and he's gotten a lot of yards. So that being said, after looking into this really closely, there is no way Wisconsin covers 23.5.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it's very possible that Illinois outright wins this game. If I were probably putting money on this, I might put it on Illinois on the money line. I'm that confident in Illinois this week.
Okay. Yeah, like you said, they did go on a 4-game winning streak last year. Wisconsin, Purdue, Rutgers, Michigan State, which a few of those, no slouches.
Yep.
So, when you first look at that, you think Wisconsin all day. I mean, just historically, both teams ended their years last year on losing streaks. The only difference is Wisconsin played Ohio State and Oregon.
Yeah, that's tough.
And so, I don't know. My gut's telling me to go with Wisconsin, but you bring up some great points. I mean, but the thing is, when I looked at experience compared to Auburn and Kentucky earlier on in the year, Auburn just proved talent trumps experience in some situations.
Sure.
So I'm going to stick with Wisconsin with what my gut's telling me on this one.
Okay. All right.
I know it's tough, and I see that line. What was that? 23 and a half.
I think it's going to come down. I think it comes down. It might come
seems
down to
like
18.
a lot for the first game of the year.
And if one thing we've seen from every single team this year in every conference, that first game is sloppy.
Yeah.
Now the good thing for the Big Ten is they're playing each other and nobody's played. So it's you're not playing somebody who's already got a game under their belt. But I'm telling you, both teams are going to come out. They're going to make mistakes. They might turn the ball over. And I just think with a redshirt freshman quarterback who's never played a game, you've lost Jonathan Taylor. You're replacing 3 guys on the offensive line. I can't see it. Not with everything Illinois has coming back with their experience. Okay. So, but you got Wisconsin, right? All right, the next game, the one I have a lot of notes on, but I'll try to keep it short. Nebraska is at number 5, Ohio State. Ohio State currently a 24.5-point favorite. I think that number goes up even further. Last year, Ohio State won 48-7. The last 3 of 4 meetings between these teams, Ohio State has won by at least 41 points in the last 3 of 4 meetings. Nebraska hasn't named a starting quarterback. Obviously, you have 2-year starter Adrian Martinez, but he's battling out with redshirt freshman Luke McCaffrey. I think isn't that the brother of Christian McCaffrey? No, Dylan McCaffrey.
Yeah, Dylan went to Michigan.
Okay, maybe they're not related, but I thought they were. Last year, Adrian Martinez only completed 59% of his passes, 10 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. Horrible. Just a bad year for a guy who came into the beginning of last year being hyped as a Heisman Trophy candidate. I mean, and now he's battling for a starting position with the redshirt freshman. Nebraska has a new offensive coordinator, Matt Lubbock. They have 5 defensive starters returning, but they're very young at the defensive line and linebacker. For Ohio State, you have Trey Sermon or Demario McCall, who's going to be the running back. Not sure who's going to start yet. It'll be one of those two. McCall has proven that he's capable of playing. He's had plenty of snaps in that system, and I'm confident in him. But Trey Sermon, coming from Oklahoma, where he had tremendous stats as well.
Yeah. He's serviceable. I just don't know that he's, your Ezekiel Elliott.
And the guy that Ohio State would love to have, Master Teague, during the spring had an Achilles tendon injury.
Yeah.
So those are hard to come back from, especially as a running back. So we'll have to see how he progresses through the year. For Ohio State, they're going to be dominant on the offensive line with Wyatt Davis, Josh Myers, and Thayer Munford. The big question for Ohio State, the secondary. Now, they lost a lot in their secondary. But the big key here, Kerry Combs, the beloved defensive back coach who ended up going to the Tennessee Titans, is back, and he's coming back as defensive coordinator. I mean, for me as an Ohio State fan, huge. I mean, he's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish he would have never left.
Yeah, he's the one that just, I mean, every year you'd see at least 1 or 2 defensive backs for Ohio State getting drafted up there in the first few rounds, and he was the one putting those guys in the league.
But this year, Okuda's gone, Arnett's gone, Jordan Fuller's gone.
Yeah.
So a lot to replace there. The good thing is Ohio State usually has talent ready that you just haven't heard of.
You've got Josh Proctor, who's been in the system for a while. There's definitely some leadership there, and somebody will rise to the occasion. I mean, they always have guys that their junior, senior year just rise up, and they've been in the system for a little bit, and they start just playing well.
At linebacker, Baron Browning, you remember him?
Yep.
Big recruit out of Texas.
Oh,
He'll step in.
Him.
Tough Borland will step in there at linebacker. And then defensive end, you lose Chase Young, but you got 2 guys coming out that most of the people haven't heard about yet, who I think are going to have tremendous seasons: Zach Harrison and Tyreek Smith. I think they'll step up and are going to have tremendous years. So, all that being said, I don't think this is even a ball game. I think it's over after the first quarter. Ohio State's probably up 31-0 at the end of the first quarter. I mean, 24.5, that's going to balloon up even higher, maybe to 30. So if you want to get in early, I'd take Ohio State early in this one. Yeah. Take them all day at 24.5.
And I think Ohio State is, I think they're more excited to play this game than Nebraska is. You saw when when the season was canceled, you had Scott Frost, you had the AD over there, claiming they wanted to play. They would do what they needed to do, go to another conference if they needed to, and then the schedules get, put out there, and all of a sudden they have problems with it. So
I mean, Nebraska has, their schedule is just it's a killer.
Yeah.
I mean,
I believe that, but so what game do you really get to spend a whole lot of? They have had more time for this game than they will have any other game. Yeah. Obviously, with the 8 games in 8 weeks,
which isn't going to happen. I mean, I just can't see any Big Ten team playing 8 games straight. With the way the COVID stuff is happening. So you got Ohio State?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Oklahoma is a 6.5-point favorite at TCU. Let you go with this one first.
I'm going to take Oklahoma. I think they got a huge confidence booster in that 4 overtime win against Texas. TCU's just not they're not the same team that they've been, in the past. I just kind of wonder if Gary Patterson's kind of towards the end of his career there as head coach. Yeah. And so I'm taking Oklahoma. I think that they could use Texas as a launching point. I don't have really a whole lot of confidence in Big 12. My whole thing is I want to see this team limit mistakes from this point on. I want to see them grow as a team. Yeah. I think 2021 now is their year to really refocus and attack a full season. And so, we'll just see. It would take a lot of help for them to make the Big 12 championship game. So that's why I'm kind of putting it away, locking that away. And if they do make that, that's a bonus. But I believe this is an away game. They're really good on the road. I mean, from years 2014 to 2018, I believe, they didn't lose a single true road game. The Cotton Bowl doesn't count because that's a neutral site game. But true road games, I mean, they're one of the best teams, programs in the country at true road games. So I think that's an easy pick, Oklahoma.
I could see this one ending like 45-38, 41-35, like right there on the spreads. I mean, it's right there close. Right now, 6.5. I'll take Oklahoma. If it shoots up any high, if it would shoot up to like 8, I would take TCU. But at 6.5,
anything over 10, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
at
touch
6.5, I'll take Oklahoma.
Yeah.
All right, next game. Number 17, Iowa State is at number 6, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State 3.5-point favorite. Just a couple notes. Oklahoma State only allowing 9 points per game, but that stat's misleading because they've only played Tulsa, West Virginia, and Kansas, not exactly juggernauts, and they didn't exactly blow these teams out either. So I'm a little suspect about Oklahoma State right now. Iowa State is only giving up 97 yards rushing per game. That's pretty impressive considering that they've played Louisiana, TCU, OU, and Texas Tech. Yeah. So that's an impressive stat for me. Bottom line, I'm taking Iowa State to outright win the game. I don't think Oklahoma State's for real. They haven't played any real tough competition. The one close or good, the best game they've had so far, I think, was West Virginia. It was like 16-7. Yeah. And so I just think Iowa State's had tough competition. They're tested. They're ready. There's nothing that's really going to surprise or shock them. I'll take Iowa State.
I'm going to take Oklahoma State. Illingsworth's playing pretty good. Don't know Spencer Sanders' situation. I thought he'd be back by now. I didn't think it was that tough of an injury. I do have injury reports up here, but my internet is going so slow. Let's see if I can find it within just a minute. But Oklahoma State was playing really well. Their defense is better.
They do have a good defense.
And Iowa State has given up some points on the year. One of those was against Oklahoma, but the other one was TCU. And still trying to find it.
Who are you talking about, Iowa State?
Oklahoma State. Spencer Sanders, probable Saturday. So you could look to see him come back. And that's about it. I mean, they do have an O-lineman out, and then Colin Clay is out for the season due to eligibility. But I think Oklahoma State's on a roll right now, and this could be a preview of I'm not sure if Iowa State loses this, if they run the table, if they could be back.
They do.
In it.
Iowa State's in great position because they have the tiebreakers.
Okay. So this could be a preview of the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah, it could be.
It's at Oklahoma State. I know they're limited on who they let into the stadium, but they're still a rowdy crowd there in Stillwater. So
they're still allowed to bang those paddles against the side, which is annoying as can be. So
but Tylan Wallace, and then Chubb, not Nick.
No.
Chubb. No.
Browns running back.
Chuba Hubbard.
Chuba Hubbard.
Gosh.
Jeez.
Man. This weekend.
And see, I just think that Iowa State, because of their run defense is so good, I think they're going to be able to contain him, and they're going to force Illingsworth or Sanders, whoever, to throw the ball. They're going to have. Oklahoma State's going to have to throw the ball.
They limited Oklahoma, their rushing game, and Oklahoma State's offensive line isn't much better than Oklahoma's.
Yeah.
Or did I say Oklahoma State?
Oklahoma State.
Yeah. Man, I'm so flustered right now. Anyway, right. So I'm going to take Oklahoma State.
You take Oklahoma State. All right. Next game, Syracuse at number 1 Clemson. Clemson 44.5-point favorite. Listen, the loser bag, part of that at the beginning of our show is because I took Georgia Tech last week, and Clemson went out and 73-7.
Put a mud hole in them.
I mean, I'm not going against Clemson. I'll take Clemson. I don't need to see anything else.
Yeah, I'm going to take Clemson as well. Syracuse, let's see, Tommy DeVito obviously out for the season, but they also have 14 players who are out. I just don't think there's a prayer here. I really
and Syracuse is going on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, they're already horrible on the road.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, man, Clemson could score 100 if they wanted to in this game. I mean, it's
just style points from here on out.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I mean,
so, okay, let's just move on then. Number 23, NC State is at North Carolina. North Carolina, 14.5-point favorite. North Carolina's given up 26 points per game, but they lost to Florida State 31-28. Another shocker. I just couldn't. I never saw that coming.
Yeah.
Never saw that coming.
It's now at 15.5.
Okay. So
it's moving toward UNC.
The common opponent this year is Virginia Tech. NC State lost to them. North Carolina beat them, although when North Carolina beat them, they had a lot of players out with COVID. They were decimated on defense. Look, I'm taking NC State.
I am as well. NC State's 4-1 against the spread.
Yeah.
North Carolina, I'll just say you got to travel down the list a little bit.
For me to take North Carolina, that spread has to come down to about 9. And if it's going even higher at 15.5, there's no way. I'm not taking North Carolina at that number. I think this will be a very competitive game. It's an in-state rivalry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be a blowout.
Yeah, I'm taking NC State as well.
Okay. Kansas is
to keep it a close game. I don't know that they win.
No, I'm not taking NC State to win. But there's no way.
Yeah.
North Carolina
14 now,
that.
15.5. I mean, if you want to get money on that, I mean, because if it keeps moving,
and we do these early, like we release our picks Monday morning, and the spreads maybe even move a little bit since the time we pick them. But the reality is, sometimes it helps to get in early, and sometimes it hurts. I mean, last week I took Pitt against Miami. The spread was 10.5. Had I known Pickett wasn't going to play, there's no way I would have took Pitt.
Yeah.
And that did, but that didn't even get announced until game day.
Yeah.
So anyway, so back to this. Anyway, let's go to the next game. Kansas is at Kansas State. Kansas State 18-point favorite. Kansas has given up 42 points per game and 450 yards per game. I know Kansas State lost their quarterback, Skylar Thompson, for the season. But, I mean, come on. There's no way Kansas can hang with Kansas State. Kansas State is more than just a quarterback. I mean, they've got some big guys up front, can push people around.
Yeah, Deuce Vaughn, he's their running back there who's kind of turned into a Big 12 star at this point. He's rushed for 238 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then he's caught 9 receptions for 279 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, 9 receptions for 297 yards.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And Kansas is 0-4. I mean, they're putting up 15 points a game and giving up 42 points a game. Yeah. I would think that this would – people might be a little bit skeptical because of Kansas State, maybe not move that too much. Because I would think with Skylar Thompson, it would easily be 23.5, maybe even higher.
25.
Yeah.
So
I'll take Kansas State in this one all day long.
Yeah.
I think Chris Kleiman is a heck of a coach that will have some kind of game plan that doesn't, they're not predicated so much on throwing the ball anyway.
Yeah.
They run a lot of power, and they're gonna just run
right
over Kansas in this game.
Okay, next game, Georgia Southern is at number 25, Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina is a 4.5-point favorite. For Coastal Carolina, their quarterback McCall has thrown for 930 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 1 interception. So he's having a great season so far. But Georgia Southern is averaging 281 yards a game rushing because they run the ball. Pretty much that's all they do. And Georgia Southern's given up 120 yards rushing per game. Coastal Carolina is averaging 200 yards rushing per game. So both these teams like to run the ball.
Yeah.
Coastal Carolina has the better quarterback. Coastal Carolina's on a roll. They're kind of like a Cinderella team that people are rooting for. They weren't supposed to be any good this year. They were projected to be towards the bottom of their conference. I don't know. Something tells me that Georgia Southern pulls out the upset because they're able to run the ball, keep the ball out of their hands, control the clock. And, Georgia Southern's still a really good football team. And the fact that 4.5, the spread doesn't matter to me. I'm kind of picking this one out. I think Georgia Southern might end up with the upset here. So I'll take Georgia Southern.
I'm going to take Coastal Carolina. They are on a roll. They're 3-1 against the spread. Georgia Southern's 2-2. So take that for what it's worth. But I just Coastal's just they're on a roll.
Yeah.
Right now.
Okay. Auburn is a 3.5-point favorite at Ole Miss. Really, all you need to know is Auburn lost to South Carolina 30-22, and Ole Miss lost to Arkansas 33-21. So,
man, if Ole Miss could ever put a full game together,
Yeah,
I mean, they just seem to come out really hot, and then they just fall flat.
yeah, I just could not believe after the performance against Alabama that they could go that flat against Arkansas.
Yeah.
And no, I don't want to dismiss Arkansas because they are light years ahead better than they've been in the last few years.
Yeah.
And they're a decent football team. They're no longer SEC cellar dwellers. They are a good football team. They
Yeah.
really are. And they're turning the page, turning the corner. I was not big on Felipe Franks when he was at Florida, but he has made a lot of difference at Arkansas. But anyway, back to this game. I don't want to get off track too much. Auburn's terrible.
Yeah.
Auburn is terrible. I mean, and I know Ole Miss isn't that great, but I'm taking Ole Miss here because I think Ole Miss wins the game.
Yeah, Auburn, they lost to South Carolina, but they even struggled with Arkansas.
Yeah.
And they did beat Arkansas 30-28.
That was the game where the fumble spike that
Right.
So really Arkansas won the game. If
Right.
You want to think about it. In
So
terms
yeah,
of picks.
I'm gonna take offense in this game. I know all day you could say Auburn's got the far and ahead better defense, but
Bo Nix has been struggling.
yeah,
And it was like it was painful to watch what I got to see of the Auburn South Carolina game.
Yeah.
Because the announcers were so biased in favor of Auburn. Like they were shocked. They couldn't believe South Carolina could be beating Auburn, but Auburn is not very good.
yeah.
So, are you taking?
I'm going to take Ole Miss at least to keep it a tight game.
Okay.
I mean, I know 3.5, is a pretty tight game, but
Yeah.
I think I don't know if they win, but I think it's a close one.
Okay.
Really close.
Next game, Florida Atlantic is taking on number 22 Marshall. Marshall is a 14.5-point favorite. Marshall's only given up 9.5 points per game. They're only giving up 68 yards rushing per game. Florida Atlantic, they're giving up 17 points, 85 yards, but they've only played one game, so that's a one-game stat there.
Yeah.
So, Marshall, I've been high on Marshall all year. I thought that they would have an explosive offense. They do. They even have a better defense than what I expected. I'm leery of 14.5. I wish it was 13.5.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stick with Marshall. I have more faith in them than I do Florida.
I am as well. Pretty good sample size for Marshall, and they are 4-0 against the spread. Even in just in that one game, Florida Atlantic lost out on the spread, so I'm going to take Marshall.
Okay. At number 2, Alabama, 19.5-point favorite at Tennessee. Mac Jones this year, 1,518 yards, 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Najee Harris, 499 yards, 11 touchdowns. Waddle, 557 yards, receiving 4 touchdowns. I mean, that offense is light.
Bama.
It is incredible.
I got Bama.
Yeah, I got Bama covering as well. Tennessee,
Tennessee.
no shot. No shot to
Dude,
stop Alabama. No.
just pick six after pick six. I mean, put a pin in it.
Yep. Notre Dame, number 3, is 9.5-point favorite at Pittsburgh. I don't know if Pickett's coming back. The shocking thing for me is I never expected the Notre Dame-Louisville game to be a 12-7 game.
Yeah.
I didn't expect. But what was more impressive, because Ian Book hasn't really played that well this year at quarterback, but Notre Dame's defense being able to hold Louisville to 7 points, I mean, that's impressive because Louisville has an offense.
Yeah.
So that was really impressive. With Pitt, I mean, they've struggled. They came out firing at the beginning of the season. I think have they lost 3 in a row now? I think they've lost 3 in a row. Don't know if Pickett's back, but even if he is, I don't know if he stands a chance against the Notre Dame defense. 9.5, I think Notre Dame wins by 13, 17, something like that. So I'll take Notre Dame cover 9.5.
I can tell you on Pickett, he is day to day. So I mean, not even upgraded to probable.
Yeah. The fact Notre Dame is coming to Pitt, I mean, that's just never happens. And if it wasn't for COVID this year, I don't know if Pitt would ever get Notre Dame to come to their place.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a once-in-a-lifetime thing for Pitt, I think. If Pickett can play, he's going to play.
Yeah.
I just don't know how effective it will be, but I'll still take Notre Dame.
Yeah, I'm going to take Notre Dame. 9.5 is it. That's maybe it moves a little bit. I mean, see if it even has. See, where were we? 9. It's still sitting at 9.5. So, Yeah, I'll take Notre Dame.
All right, next game, Penn State is ranked number 8, even though they haven't played a game yet. 6.5-point favorite at Indiana. Some quick stats here I jotted down. I know I'm reading from my phone, but Sean Clifford last year threw for 2,600 yards, 23 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Running back Journey Brown, 890 yards, 12 touchdowns. They're both back. Defense only returns 4 starters for Penn State. I'm so shocked that there's talk about Penn State pushing for a national championship this year. I just don't see it. They don't have it on defense. So they only have 4 starters returning. They only have Shakatoni, I think that's his name. He's the only defensive lineman returning for them. Micah Parsons opted out. You have sophomore Brandon Smith and freshman Curtis Jacob playing linebacker, so very young at linebacker. Yeah. Lamont Wade is our leading tackler from last year, and he's the safety. So when your leading tackler is a safety, that to me that's a red flag. Yeah. That's just a red flag. And then for Indiana, just a couple things, because people like to discount Indiana just because they've always kind of been the bottom of the Big Ten. Indiana's turning the page. I mean, big time. And so things to remember about Indiana. Quarterback Brandon Penix, he returns. Now, last year, before he got hurt, Indiana was 5-1. He threw for 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns before he went out with the injury. He's back. You have wide receiver Whop Philyor. He had over 1,000 yards receiving, so you have a 1,000-yard receiver coming back. And then you have linebackers Micah McFadden and defensive tackle Jerome Johnson, who had 5 sacks last year. They come back. Indiana has a lot of experience coming back. They are primed. They're primed to make a run, to shock people in ways that they probably have never done before. Penn State will have an explosive offense. They will score points. No doubt they will score points. But that defense, I don't think, can shut down Indiana's offense. And so I don't know if Indiana wins the game, but I will take Indiana in the points in this.
Think they keep it within 7?
I think it could be a 3-point game. It could be a 1-point game. Could go to overtime. Maybe Penn State covers by scoring a touchdown in overtime and win by 7. But there's no way Penn State's going to blow out Indiana. And I feel like Indiana is going to upset Penn State in this week.
Well, and Penn State's also got 3 suspensions. Marquise Wilson, cornerback, offensive lineman Caden Wallace, and running back Devin Ford, who's had a few carries.
And the state of Pennsylvania has been dealing with COVID.
Yeah.
They've been a hard-hit state. They've been dealing with it more than any other programs.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't looked enough to know how that's affected Penn State with practice. But I know Penn State was one of those schools, like, they did not want to play this year. Yeah. Like, they were hardcore, canceled the season. They didn't want to play. And so at least their school leadership didn't want to play. And I think they look very sloppy coming out, and I think it's a trap for them to be playing Indiana in week 1.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is where it's tough not having a non-conference schedule. A lot's going to have to ride on sophomore Noah Cain, and hopefully he can grow up really quickly in the backfield there because now, who's going to be, the second ball carrier.
Well, Brown, their returning running back, Journey Brown.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So they do have him to lean on.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go with Indiana. Just that no non-conference schedule and just getting right into it. Yeah. I'll vote for a close, tight game.
Okay. Next game, number 19 Virginia Tech, 7-point favorite at Wake Forest. I'll just be honest with you. I'm going on what I've seen. I didn't research this game really close, but I'll take Virginia Tech to cover the 7. I think they're going to have a lot of players back that they've been missing. And Virginia Tech, when they have their players, they're pretty explosive. They have a great offense. And Wake Forest is just, they're not very good this year. So
Wake Forest is 3-1 against the spread. And then Virginia Tech is 2-2. Not a whole lot of difference there. Yeah. But I'll take Virginia Tech as well.
Okay, Baylor is at Texas. Texas is a 10.5-point favorite, assuming this game even gets played. Baylor has, I think
they've been just riddled with COVID. I don't know if it's contact tracing or positive tests. Yeah. Charlie Brewer is I believe out. I don't know if that's for the season. I think it may have been an ankle sprain.
Okay.
But yeah, he's believed to be out.
I'm
Oh,
a-
his shoulder injury. That's
Okay.
right. I got down a shoulder injury. So
I'm going to take Texas.
yeah, I'm going to take Texas as well. They want to get the bad taste of
Yep.
losing that 4 overtime game, and they've had a week.
They have.
There was only one Big 12 game. They were not it.
And
So
if they struggle with Baylor or lose to Baylor, Tom Herman might be out.
I
If
mean,
they lose to Baylor,
if they want to pay that buyout, but
well,
yeah,
they got a lot of money bags. They got
Yeah.
some deep pockets in out Texas. So
yeah,
if they want to. So
yeah.
we both have Texas. All right.
Yeah.
South Carolina is at LSU. LSU is 6.5-point favorite. South Carolina scored 30 on Auburn, and LSU gave up 45 in a loss to Missouri.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how LSU's favored. I know their offense scores points, and I know Miles Brennan having a great season. It's unfortunate that he doesn't have a defense to go along with it.
Yeah.
But that defense is so bad this year. I mean, it's a flip. How could they go as good as they were last year to this bad?
Yeah.
And it's just mind-boggling. So I got South Carolina.
Well, and Miles Brennan and Derek Stingley are both questionable for Saturday.
Yeah.
Stingley with an ankle injury and Miles Brennan with a shoulder injury. So I've got South Carolina as well.
Okay.
Because
Michigan.
even if they do, and Terrace Marshall is questionable Saturday as well.
Yeah. So.
That's a lot of production on offense and defense that is not there.
Yeah.
And even if they are, they're banged up.
Right.
So
Yep.
are they able to go 100%? So
And South Carolina's going to be riding a high after that win.
Yeah.
So. Okay. Next game is lost my place. Number 18 Michigan's 3.5-point favorite at number 21 Minnesota. Man, some key things to keep in mind here. I was blown away when I started researching this.
yeah, you Minnesota
Blown
fans are going to love us
away.
after this.
Yeah, because I was not on Minnesota's bandwagon
Yeah.
last year. So, but when I started researching this
learning.
game, when I started researching this game, now for the series, Michigan has won 27 out of the last 30. So Michigan dominates this series, but and I lost my
Blind
place
squirrel
again.
finds a nut.
However, Tanner Morgan returns. He had 3,000 plus yards throwing. I said 5,000 earlier before the show. I meant 3. So 3,000 yards, 30 touchdowns. And he has Rashad Bateman back, who was explosive last year at wide receiver.
Yeah.
They have all their offensive line starters back. So all their big guys are back. And listen to this stat, because this is mind-blowing. Every offensive lineman for Minnesota, 6'5" or taller, 300 pounds or more. One of the guys like 345, 355. I mean, these guys are huge.
Yeah.
They're huge. And here's the other telling stat from Michigan. On their defensive linemen from Michigan averaged 282. They are going to get blown off the ball.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a Big 12 defensive line right there.
that is a small
Yeah.
defensive line for the Big Ten. Some other ones here. For Michigan, they're going to be starting a redshirt sophomore, Joe Milton. Now, this guy, we haven't seen him play, but he's being compared to the next Patrick Mahomes, the next Cam Newton, something like that.
Yeah.
Apparently, he can throw the ball standing still 75 yards, which is incredible. So they have a lot of high expectations for him, and he's got to come out of the chute and perform, in this first game. Michigan's going to be heavy relying on the run. They're going to run the ball. They don't really have a passing game.
Yeah.
They just don't. So they're going to have to run the ball a lot. And Michigan has 4 new starters on the offensive line. The last thing I'm going to say for my notes, if Milton gets hurt, the 2 guys they have at quarterback who could come in are both freshmen. So they don't have much experience.
Yeah.
And so, look, I'm taking Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minnesota wins the game, and they might win the game by 10. Minnesota is going to thump Michigan in a sense, not blow them out, but they're going to beat them. And I don't know, Harbaugh's going to have to answer. He's terrible against top 25 teams, especially on the road. There's no way that I think Michigan can win this game.
Yeah. Did Fleck just recently get
He got an extension. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they got most of their guys back. I mean,
So confidence in their coaching
yeah,
staff.
their defense is still good. I think they
Yeah.
lost Winfield, who was a star last year on defense. But
Yeah, I'm taking Minnesota as well.
all right, great. Sorry, I did all the talking. But
No, you're good.
I couldn't believe this when I started
Yeah.
researching it. Okay, where am I at? Okay, Virginia is at number 11. Miami 11-point favorite. I didn't really research this. I just don't think Virginia can hang with Miami.
Yeah.
I'll take Miami to cover 11.
I've got Miami as well.
Cincinnati is ranked number 9. They are a 1-point favorite at number 16 SMU. Huge game. I may see if I can get tickets and go down there Saturday night and watch this if I can get in. This is going to be a thriller. I think it's probably the best game of the weekend in my opinion. And that's saying something with some of the Big Ten matchups.
Yeah.
But this one's going to be one that you want to watch. It's in prime time. 1 point. Here's the thing. SMU with Buechele. Buechele's having a monster season.
Yeah.
I mean, he did the right thing by transferring from Texas. He's having a monster season, but that Cincinnati defense is really good. They've really been able to shut teams down. Last week, they were supposed to play Tulsa. That got postponed. So Cincinnati was ready to get on the plane, and then they had a whole bunch of COVIDs that they had to cancel or postpone. So so they're kind of recovering from that, and we don't know exactly who all's coming back for them. And Desmond Ridder has not had the season at quarterback that we were expecting him to have. But at the end of the day, I just can't go against Cincinnati. SMU, even though they're undefeated, they've had some luck pulling out some of those games recently. And so I think Cincinnati goes in there, and it's a tight game, but when it's 1 point, you're picking a winner. Yeah. So I will take Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm looking at the against the spreads here. Southern Methodist is 3-2 against the spread, and then Cincinnati is 1-2. Not a whole lot of games for them to really compare.
5-0 versus 3-0.
Right.
So,
but I gotta keep riding the Buechele train.
Okay.
I mean, he's playing phenomenally. 1,710 yards, 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Now we've seen this from SMU the last few years, though.
Yeah.
They start off undefeated, they're ranked, everything's going good, and then all of a sudden the bottom just falls out of their car. I mean, it just is. So I don't know if they do that this year, but if they can get this win, this is the biggest game for them this year. If they can get this win, they already beat Memphis, didn't they?
Well, and yeah, they beat Memphis 30-27. They've been in some close games, so this one. I think the number line is right there.
Yeah, their defense is not very good at SMU. So
so they're going to give up some points, but they just came out of a overtime game against Tulane. Mm-hmm. Cincinnati did what they should have done against South Florida. They also beat Army, which is a really tough team to play year in and year out.
Held them to like 10 points.
Yeah,
I mean that rushing team to 10 points.
Yeah. So I think SMU is going to have to throw the ball, but I think it being down in Dallas, I'm going to take SMU. Take the home team with a spread like that.
Okay.
You gotta.
And we got one game left here. Texas State is at BYU. BYU ranked number 12, and they are a 30-point favorite. And Wilson has been like putting himself maybe in Heisman talk.
Yeah.
He has had a phenomenal year. Games at home for BYU. I mean, Texas State can't hang.
Yeah, Zach Wilson, 1,641 yards, 12 touchdowns, 1 interception. Mm-hmm. They are passing for 353 yards a game, and they're only allowing 288 total yards per game. And they've played Houston, UTSA, and Louisiana Tech. Texas State has played Troy. They've played 6 games already. Yeah. Man, that's crazy.
That's a lot. Yeah.
So they got started early. Lost to Boston College. Yeah, I've got BYU in this.
Covering 30.
Pretty big. Yeah.
Okay.
Zach Wilson's just incredible.
So that's our picks for Week 8. Big Ten is back. We can't wait. It's going to be fun. Ohio State, Nebraska kicks off at noon Eastern time, so I don't have to wait. It's like first game.
Yeah.
Get up, watch some big noon.
Just don't do any contract work on Saturday.
No, I'm not. I have to live stream and do play-by-play for a high school game on Friday night. I'll get home late, get to bed, get up, watch a big noon kickoff, and then Ohio State and Nebraska. So
exciting.
Yeah. So Okay, thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Like the video. Always comment. We'll try to get to what we can get to and respond as much as I can. And thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next show. Take care.